A year ago, I finally crawled out from under my rock and watched The Room for the first time. It's a cult classic, so bad it's good film, and there are countless videos and articles and memes about it already. I was lucky enough to see it when Greg Sestero, the Mark, was doing a Q&A after the screening.
Hey guys. You like it?
But it's not the film itself that I want to talk about today, more so the experience of watching it. Here's my letterboxd review. The film is hilarious, but so many of the audience members were not. I think they forget that the film is funny because it's not trying to be, and yelling your little pre-planned one-liners every 5 minutes is on the opposite side of the spectrum. Granted, many of these people were drunk. I should have expected that. I should have watched it at home with a close group of friends. Now, I didn't walk into the cinema completely oblivious. Cult classic film screenings are known for their enthusiastic, if somewhat rambunctious, audience participation. The Rocky Horror Picture Show is a great example of this. Audience members are known to yell lines at the screen and dress up as the characters.
The party starts outside in the street even before the movie begins. The young fans compete to see who can see the film most often.
How many times have you seen the movie? 235. 235 times. I'll go back for another 200. How many times, Debbie? 250. 250 times. How many times, Jenny? 110.
The whole point of these screenings is for a group of people to share their vested interest in the same piece of media, typically one that was overlooked upon its debut. It garners a sense of community. It's a place where, everyone in this theatre has the same niche interests that you do. I didn't pick up on this sense of community when I went to watch The Room. It felt less like a cult cinema audience and more like your drunk uncle yelling over speeches at a wedding reception. Although I'm sure a good portion of the audience were there to actually enjoy the film and participate in the traditional spoon-throwing festivities, it was hard to hear a lot of the iconic dialogue over the yells of a few self-proclaimed comedians. Any supposedly funny comment from one person had to be followed by an even funnier comment from another person, to the point where I don't think these people were actually responding to the film at all, just having an obnoxiously loud screaming match from different corners of the screening room. I thought that the reason we kept watching this ridiculous film is because of the sincerity with which Tommy Wiseau created it.
What do you think about the negative reviews and opinions about The Room?
I think that everybody is entitled to their own opinion. However, if a person, he or she, assumes something and it's not true, that's wrong.
Everything that you see,
an experience viewing The Room was done meticulously, with meticulous planning and
with a lot of preparation.
For example, playing football was not an accident, and the entire project was not an accident. We're preparing a lot scene. Preparation for the football scene was very challenging because we used 2 cameras.
Plus, one of the actresses falling down in the scene.
But we conquer our challenge.
To him, it's not meant to be a comedy at all, but instead this hard-hitting, Oscar-worthy drama. And it's so hilarious because it's just not that. And we love it. We indulge in the strange acting choices and the bizarre script with the weird lines and the overly dramatic score. We memorize the way Tommy recites his lines with that weird cadence.
How was work today?
Oh, pretty good. We got a new client at the bank. We'll make a lot of money.
What client?
I cannot tell you. It's confidential.
Oh, come on. Why not?
No, I can't. Anyway, how is your sex life?
That's what makes it funny. The film is what's entertaining. The audience is not what makes it entertaining. The audience just brings community. It's a shared understanding. It's not the time for you to perform the worst improvised stand-up set ever seen. And this is the crux of what I want to talk about today. It's part of the reason why I think the cinema going experience isn't what it used to be, and that's ego.
For all y'all talkers up in here, it's time to keep it down right now. Shh. Shh, back at you. Shh.
I wish, really, that people could see the thing in a theater, and Laserdiscs and videos didn't exist, because on the big screen, when the sound, everything is, you become inside the film, and that's the beauty of cinema. And
my interpretation of this quote focuses on the immersion aspect of the movie-going experience. When I watch a film on the big screen, I open myself up to becoming a part of that world, to listen to the dialogue that the film is trying to start, or to just escape the world for an hour or two. When I enter the screening room, I leave myself at the door. I become a fly on the wall in someone else's perspective. A good film will make me laugh, or cry, or wince, or gasp, or keep me on the edge of my seat, or whatever other kind of response it intends to elicit, because I allow it to. Even if I end up not liking the film, I've given it the chance to capture my full focus, and I've paid enough attention to know why I didn't like it. I learned something about myself by engaging with a piece of media fully. Had I turned to whoever was sitting next to me and given a running commentary on the film, I would have missed entire chunks of it. If I continuously checked my phone during the screening, I'd be switching off my emotion every time I looked at my notifications. And by doing either of these things, I wouldn't only be ruining the film for myself, but for whoever else is in my vicinity.
Oh, shut up, Homer! No one wants to hear what you think!
Dwayne Johnson sparked debate when he claimed that audience goers should be able to sing along when watching musicals in the movie theatre, claiming it's your right, since you've paid your hard-earned money for a ticket, completely disregarding the fact that everyone else also paid their hard-earned money for a ticket and didn't do so with the intention of listening to someone squealing off key for hours. Although I don't know where The Rock watches most of his films, I can hazard a guess that he doesn't have to do so while sharing a space with the general public, unless it's at a highly publicised film premiere. Like most regular people, if I can't watch a film at my local cinema, I have to wait till it comes to streaming, where I can watch it on a much smaller, lower quality screen with speakers that can't fully convey the intention of the sound designer.
Re-recording mixers mix for the widest surround sound format that is available. Typically, like big release films, that is Dolby Atmos, which has true 3D sound up to 128 channels.
The thing is, if you're not at a movie theater that can showcase the best sound Hollywood has to offer, you can't experience all of those channels.
The sad reality is, most of us choose this now. Cinemas, particularly independent cinemas, are struggling enough to get customers in seats. Lockdowns during the pandemic put a great strain on cinema attendance, and while it's somewhat improved over the last couple of years, it's still not hitting pre-pandemic numbers. Box office revenue has decreased from £1.25 billion in 2019 to £978 million in 2024. And it's not just because people prefer to watch movies at home.
It's outdated. It's an outdated concept. Someone gets up at the Oscars and says, we need to make movies for movie theaters, for the communal experience, that's just an outmoded idea.
I believe it is an outmoded idea. For most people, not for everybody.
Even before the pandemic, theatres were seeing less and less customers due to rising ticket prices on top of the cost of food and drink. Just a side note, while I was trying to find evidence for this, most statistics seem to suggest that the average price of a UK cinema ticket is around £7.73. I personally, however, don't know where to find these cinemas. For my local cinema, £7.73 is actually the cost of a child's ticket. I think it is important to note that a lot of cinemas do have deals on tickets, whether it's cheaper during certain weekdays or discounted prices for older film screenings. It's not always incredibly expensive, but it's also not always easy to make it to these particular screenings if you're working, nor is it always widely advertised. When I lived in Brighton, I frequented my local Odeon quite a lot, where the standard price for a ticket is £9.95. So it made sense for me to pay for a membership, as it covered the cost of 1.5 tickets, So just watching 2 films a month would make it worth it. And I often go to the cinema for far more than that anyway. However, I am a nerd, so I would do that.
I'm weird. I'm a weirdo.
I would say most people would find it more financially viable to spend that money on a streaming platform where they can watch, well, at least they have the choice from thousands of films, as opposed to just a select few that they might not even like. However, it doesn't take into account the lower quality viewing experience.
Now, if you're playing the movie on a telephone or on your computer, you will never in a trillion years experience the film. You'll think you have experienced it, but you'll be cheated.
As well as the analysis paralysis, which is a phenomenon where you have so much choice that you struggle to pick anything at all. And I feel like most people have been in that situation. For How Stuff Works, Deborah Ronker described the rise of ticket prices as part of a vicious cycle. Moviegoers just aren't going to the cinema as much anymore. Instead, they're saving their money and watching movies via streaming services or on demand in the comfort of their own homes. To try to lure their customers back, theatres are offering better viewing experiences, like luxury seating, full-service menus, reserved seats, and more. Theatres need to pay for those upgrades somehow, and that's reflected in the higher ticket price. So, because people aren't going to the cinema, the ticket prices are increasing. But because the ticket prices are increasing, people aren't going to the cinema. I get it. There's a cost of living crisis. I would never suggest that you spend more money than is actually financially viable for you. But when we do get the luxury of going to a cinema and seeing a film, we should make the most of it. The cinema is one of the few places today where you are actively discouraged from using your phone. You are explicitly asked to turn it off or at least put it on silent. You might ask, aren't you kind of just replacing one small screen with an even bigger screen? And the answer is kind of, but not really. The content of the film you watch is more often than not going to be much better for your brain than whatever rot we consume on our daily doom scrolls. Psychologist Ryan Nemec published a paper in the Journal of Clinical Psychology in 2020, exploring the positive influence of watching movies on mental health. He explains that therapists can actually use films as a tool for inspiring clients to look within using a medium that is, at its best, enjoyable, engaging, and empowering. Watching a film is not the same passive act as scrolling on your phone. It can challenge you to question your beliefs and goals. It's an exercise in empathy and critical thinking. Do you remember leaving the cinema as a child and believing you could be a spy or a mermaid or a superhero? I get that same rush of dopamine leaving the cinema as an adult, although I don't quite believe I could be Kung Fu Panda still. I take away different ideas that I might not have even come up with had I not watched the film. So for the sake of our brains, we should put our phones away and experience the film. We don't have to take pictures and videos. We can discuss it with our friends when it's over, like real people who exist in the real world. Don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking the experience of putting a film on in the background at home and talking over it with friends. One of my favourite pastimes is finding a really bad movie and making fun of it the whole time. If everyone in the room has seen the film before or has collectively, maybe subconsciously agreed on the perfect balance between talking and pausing and watching, then that's fine.
Which one's Glee? You have to stop.
I don't think it's crazy to say that if you're doing any activity with any amount of people, you should always be respectful of everyone that's with you.
If a lot of people love each other, the world will be a better place to live.
In the comfort of your own home, you can put on any movie you want and talk over it or scroll through your phone the entire time. But in a cinema, the film is the entertainment. It is the reason the building exists and there are people inside it.
Film is the thing. The film is the thing.
It's the reason why all the lights turn off and the surround sound is amped up. It is the event. The film is the reason you're there. So shut up and enjoy it.
Thank you very much.